Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sons of Sequoia podcast, episode number 28.
SOS number 28, and March 1st, 2021.
Yes.
We're moving through 2021. And what are we doing today, David?
Today we're taking a look at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, the winners. Yeah, we watched that last night. It was good, and we did see we watched some of the motion pictures and and there was some good stuff out there. Yeah, it'll be fun to think about the winners.
And of course, I'm having issues with the Skype, but that's something I want to bring up. I'm having trouble getting you in your one shot.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, while you're doing that, I'll just go down the list here. I'm sure everyone knows, the best motion picture drama was Nomadland, and that was for a drama. And then the best motion picture musical or comedy was the Borat subsequent movie film. And the Borat subsequent movie film, we saw that, and it was good. It was very, very interesting. And his speech too, when his acceptance speech was good, because he said that he saw a lot of young actors come out with a lot of possibilities of comedy, and he first named Rudy Giuliani as a comedy. And he says, yeah, he introduced him. It was his premiere that he can, and he kept doing comedy skits all the way through. So that was I guess that was a English humor, but it was accepted. I accepted it well. I thought very clever, very clever. Yeah. But Sacha Cobain Bryant, he was very he spoke very well. He's funny, sarcastic, but I think he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
He came across as sharp, and he knew what he was doing. And his young actress from Bulgaria, what was her name?
Maria Bakalova.
Maria Bakalova. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, she was funny.
She did a really good job. And who was it? I forget. Someone said that she deserves a lot of credit for being in the same room with Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, she's talking about, I think it was Rosamund Pike or whoever won Best Film Supporting Actress Comedy. I forget who it was, but she said, this role required a lot of bravery. Yeah, it was Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike,
But not as much bravery as being alone in a room with Rudy Giuliani. So I'll speak to, I can't pull up Skype. It's not working. And here, of course, it's not working also. But I just that's part of my grievance. Well, not grievance, but yeah, sometimes we have technical issues on this podcast. But last night on the Golden Globes, where they have a whole staff, Daniel Kaluuya, this guy right here on the right-hand side, he won Best Supporting Actor. He was muted for half of his speech. So, we may have some technical issues, but this is just me trying to run everything. They have a whole staff for the Golden Globes, and they still screw it up. So it's not quite as easy as it looks. I spilled hot coffee on my hand.
No, because I do my stuff too, and I do a lot of stuff just by myself. And sometimes it doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. Simply, the sequence and where you do things, and sometimes things get hung up and you got to get out and come back in for it to reset. And it's not as easy as it looks. And actually, David, what you do here and and everything you pull together is pretty impressive. Very impressive on how all this stuff comes together. And so I have no complaints at all. The little glitches here and there, you solve them.
Yeah.
They're solved. Maybe not immediately, maybe not this time, maybe next time, but they're solved, for crying out loud. And we are doing this, and we keep doing it. We are what, episode 28?
Yeah, 28. That's pretty good, actually.
28 hours, and that's over a day in the books. And I think you're doing a great job. And I think we're making this stuff work. And actually, it's necessary, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm only half a sons of Sequoia here. We and everybody should keep on talking and should keep on listening. I think we should listen to what everyone has to say, both sides, all sides, and think about what they're saying and think about what you believe in. And I think too much they want to believe in things that are not truthful. And this morning I was listening on, I don't want to get into this because I want to stick with the Golden Globes, but I was talking about the CPAC.
Mm-hmm.
The CPAC, everything that came out there, and actually one speaker was even talking about QAnon and the conspiracy theory as if it was true, and it's substantiated. But anyway, getting back to the Golden Globes, yeah, we watched it, and I think the other thing I mentioned is that they, at the very beginning, they muted the recipient, and he couldn't speak, and they said, well, we have technical difficulties. Well, these are professionals, for crying out loud, like you said.
Yeah.
It was remarkable that happened right at the beginning. Go, wow, our podcast is better with just you. We start better than they do, and most of what we do. We have glitches too, but everyone does.
Yeah.
And also you mentioned someone. I think you mentioned someone was saying, and you have a better memory than I do, that they do very good at giving awards to themselves
Yeah.
in their industry.
Hollywood loves awarding themselves.
Yeah. And
I fixed it.
there you go.
It was annoying.
I see.
Sometimes it just doesn't want to work, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if a movie's about Hollywood, it's like way more likely to win an award because Hollywood loves itself.
Hollywood loves Hollywood.
So the night started out, and we got to point out we haven't seen most of these movies or TV shows. So I think that's kind of a credit to, there was a pandemic last year, but we didn't spend the whole pandemic sitting around watching TV and movies.
That's right. We're busy.
Yeah. So, let's take a look at these multiple nominations. Mank, didn't see it. Trial of the Chicago 7, didn't see it. The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
Borat and One Night in Miami, we saw those.
Yes.
Hamilton, saw that.
Both of it. Hamilton was great. Yes.
No. Soul, saw Soul.
Oh, all of us. We all like Soul.
Soul's good. Yeah,
It was really good.
Pixar does a good job, and I thought that one was especially good. I have a soft spot for jazz music, musicians, and so, yeah, I liked it a lot. So we're looking at 4 out of the, I don't know, however many these are, So we're not really speaking with authority. I think we're speaking more towards, do you think what should have won? I don't know. I didn't see half the stuff. But there are some interesting things going on. One thing I'd like to talk about is just, first of all, the guy wins the first award of the night. He's muted. But also the first award of the night, Bill Murray, was also nominated. Where is he? Where is he?
Supporting actor.
Yeah, I don't see him.
It's further down. There it is.
No, but
Isn't
it
he?
was supporting actor. It was this guy, Kaluuya. Where is he? I just had him pulled up. I don't see his thing.
I think it was higher. It was higher, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, because it was a film, maybe. There's Daniel Kaluuya. There he is. Yeah, supporting actor Judas and the Black Messiah.
There's Bill Murray on the rocks as Felix Keane.
So he shows up on a Zoom call. He's like sitting by the beach in a Hawaiian shirt. I thought that was awesome. He didn't even bother to put on a suit. And then Jason Sudeikis wins. He's wearing like a tie-dye hoodie. So that's sort of the brave new world we're in. Joaquin Phoenix was a presenter. He wore a shirt and tie, but he also wore sneakers and a hoodie. So I think that everyone's going very casual during this pandemic, you know?
Yep.
And I thought that all that was kind of interesting. I mean, we could speak to the movies we saw. Oh, who's calling you? Is that important?
No.
We saw One Night in Miami. Liked it a lot.
It was good.
What else did we saw? Borat, which actually won the best comedy,
Yep.
and Sacha Baron Cohen won best comedy actor. And I will say that he was good, and it takes a lot of guts to do what he did. You know, he puts himself into harm's way, and there's a lot to be said about that. But he was up against Lin-Manuel Miranda for the stage play of Hamilton. And I think that Lin-Manuel Miranda, when Hamilton was on Broadway in 2016, he won every award there was. And I think maybe they thought Lin-Manuel Miranda did that 5 years ago. Let's not give him an award 5 years later when someone did something in 2020. Does that make sense?
Whether they consciously think that or not, I think that's an element of the decision process.
Mm-hmm.
They want to give it to, and I think under the auspices of they want to give it the right award to the right person at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So all three of those things, I think, kick in. And even though you highlight one of those criteria, they're all together. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And that's why they have the groups that, the committees that do it.
Mm-hmm. Because Lin-Manuel Miranda, first of all, he wrote all those words that he rapped in Hamilton, and then he delivered them, and he did all the choreography, and it's like, it seems like that would be a little bit more challenging than what Sacha Baron Cohen did, just from a technical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think that he already won awards for that. He won Tony Awards in 2016 or 2017, whenever it was. He won every Tony Award under the sun, as he deserved to, but they weren't going to give him film awards for filming the play that he made 5 years earlier. So that was one thing. Another thing is Borat won Best Film for musical or comedy. And I didn't see any of the others. But what are you looking at?
I'm trying to find the list you had.
Oh, do you want me to send you the link in chat?
Yeah. There we go. I got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think if it wasn't the middle of a pandemic, a film like Borat could win the Best Motion Picture Golden Globe?
I don't know. But I will say that it has an effect.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right, David. It does have an effect. Who's to say what would have happened? But all of that contributes. It just, to me, it's logical. It contributes, whether you want it to or not. And and I would look at these things, and I look at the different things of what the few that we've seen. I've never. They're good for different reasons, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
what do we see lately? Well, like One Night in Miami, that was really good because there was a message. I think also what is good is when it's well done. They're all well done. They're just very talented people in this industry. But there's a message that's being communicated, and I think that's what really grabs people. And we watched one the other day. What did we watch the other day? And I said that was good. It was just entertaining. There wasn't much.
We watched the 2011 Best Picture winner for the Oscars, The Artist.
The Artist was very well done technically, and when I got, because we watched The Artist, the silent movie, and it was very good. It was well done, but there was no. Well, maybe there was a message, but I missed it. But when there's a message, a current message of the day, that makes the movie more powerful. And I think a lot of times that's what people, uh, whether consciously or unconsciously, take away from a movie. Like it spoke to me. It spoke to me. And a lot of times they will rate the movies based on their technical ability and their artistic ability and the writing. But the but more than that, the message and the impact that it has on the viewer. Sometimes that's more than just the technical ability or the artistic ability.
Yeah,
The Artist was good. I really liked it. I really liked it.
you could say there was no message, but what if you were someone that grew up in an industry and the industry changed and you saw all the things that worked for you stopped working and you were distraught and in despair and people were reaching out a helping hand and you said, no, the world needs to change. I don't need to change. And the artist, it confronts all of those issues where it's
Hmm.
like accept help where you can find it and realize that sometimes the world moves on and you need to adapt to overcome. I mean, that's all, those are all messages that the artist had.
They were, and I, I know I'm older, and I have changed quite a bit. But you change, and some people didn't change. Well, like in business, some people don't change, and they're no longer in business.
Mm-hmm.
and and yeah, I've changed a lot over the years. I've changed my thinking. I've changed my how I approach things. Uh, but it's more of an individual thing. But like One Night in Miami, that's a social message that was brought forward
Mm-hmm.
and addressed in a very very good way. And that needs to be addressed even more. And we have to think about those kinds of issues even deeper. Yeah, you're right. It was well done. I like those two movies. I liked a lot.
I mean,
And
there are messages. You said there's no messages in it. Like that's just saying, unless something has a broader, immediate social message, there's no message. But that's not true.
that's not true. I was wrong. But what I was saying was is that the message there was a yeah, you're right. I was wrong. There is a message. Uh, but I guess what I'm saying is that uh, the message could was very focused with the artist, but for One Night in Miami, the message that was in the movie was uh, for society,
Mm-hmm.
for everybody, and everybody's living that, and it's a little bit more poignant and more much broader in its application. Yeah. So I'm thinking no message. Uh, that was a message to the artist. That wasn't necessarily a message to me. I'm not. I'm not an art. I don't act. I'm not an artist in that sense.
There's no instances in your life where change would have benefited you, and instead you chose to stick to the old way of doing things.
Sure, that happens all the time. It
But
happens all the time.
that's like the
But
theme of the artist.
well, yeah, a broader theme of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all about the acting in that industry. But see, one night in Miami was talking about our society that we live every day. There was no parallelism going on. It was
Hmm.
direct. But anyway, the actually we should watch Nomadland because it won, huh?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll watch that tonight. I want to point out something that I observed, and I think that you'll agree with me. And this is not to rag on these people. Everyone's allowed to do what they want to do. But let me kill myself real quick. Uh, in the You got Mark Ruffalo, didn't like his speech. Catherine O'Hara didn't like her speech. Jason Sudeikis didn't like his speech, but Jason Sudeikis, you had Don Cheadle giving him the wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up while he was.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So let's go back to Mark Ruffalo. Mark
Hey,
Ruffalo.
David, wait a minute, wait a minute. While you're talking about this, let's have rankings, okay? Because we throw marshmallows at the screen for things that we don't want. So as you go through this, is it a 1 marshmallow, 2 marshmallow, 3 marshmallow? Because the more marshmallows, the worse it is. Is that fair?
Yeah, I thought the content of Mark Ruffalo's speech was my least favorite. I thought the execution of Catherine O'Hara's speech was clearly my least favorite. So Mark Ruffalo, he was the definition of empty platitudes. Do you know what I'm saying? He's a 3 marshmallow.
It's a 3 marshmallow, okay.
So let me just do my impression of Mark Ruffalo. I know it's been a difficult year out there, everyone, but if we can all stand together, arm in arm, and march forward into a braver future, if we can focus on what needs to be done, we can join hands and look to a brighter sun and a brighter tomorrow. And it's up to us, the storytellers, to say, this is our time, this is our chance, and we will prevail if we just look to the sun on the horizon, and tomorrow will be a brighter day. And it's like, dude, you're not saying anything. It's all,
Yeah. What did he say? What did he
yeah.
say?
That
What
was
does he mean by that?
that was his speech, and I don't know. I think that he thought he was changing the world, but he wasn't changing jack squat.
You tell him, David.
And that was empty platitudes. So I
Yeah.
didn't like that. Catherine O'Hara. Let's get back here.
Yeah, there she is. Yeah.
She had this gimmick going where her husband was playing music on the phone,
Oh,
and
that
she was
annoying.
trying to. And I think that it probably played better in the room because she could hear the phone and it made sense, and the audio was good in the room. But over a microphone and over Skype, it was just nonsensical, and she sort of ruined her one chance to accept an award. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and you think this is their business. They are in the business of being on camera, and they don't even know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's wow, like in my field in statistics, if you get up and start talking about something that's ridiculous, people are going to totally tune you out. It says, no, that's the wrong axioms. That's the wrong assumptions. You're basing that on, you're crazy, and they'll get up and walk out of the room.
Yeah. But
And
that's maybe if you're with your peers. I would say, honestly, as a teacher going remote this last year, you got to admit that if you have terrible, terrible audio, it's staticky, it's crackling, it's peaking, you're going to get students that don't listen to your lecture because it's too hard. And the fascinating thing to me is as you move online, you can go, let's just take a look. We can go to Amazon. All right? I just want to just do an experiment. You could buy a
Good.
blue Spark or a blue Yeti. Let's say a blue Yeti because that's an all-in-one solution. All right?
yeah,
An all-in-one solution. $110. Okay. That will significantly improve the audio on your online lectures, or if you work in corporate world and you're doing remote work, it'll significantly improve the audio of your Zoom calls and your Skype meetings or whatever you're doing. Well, that's $100. People will spend $1,000 on a suit, $500 on a dress. And now those things are meaningless. To make yourself be more professional, literally, it costs $110. Like, why wouldn't you outlay that expense? Because it'll pay dividends. People can hear you better. When you speak, your voice will be more clear. That'll give you more authority when you're trying to be forceful in an argument. And people sort of lose track of that. It's surprising to me.
Well, the whole point of The Artist, the things changed to talkies, right? They went from the silent film to talkies to talkie. And the whole point of that is that, what was his name? George Valentine.
Yeah.
And I think that was a spinoff, that was an analogy to Rudolph Valentino, because he couldn't make the transition from silent film to talkies, because I think his voice was kind of like, was not received well. I'll put it that way. And that was kind of what The Artist was about, you know? And so he did come, but then the sound was tap dancing. But I didn't want to ruin the movie, but it was really great. And it was well done. But the point is that that's the whole point of The Artist. That's what The Artist was talking about. The same thing.
Yeah.
And they made a movie about it, but they can't do it. They can talk about it, but they won't do it. It's remarkable. Oh my goodness.
Now, I imagine on the Golden Globe, they shipped them out stuff to use. I don't know. Because if you look at the list of nominees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in each category. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 110, 120, 120, let's say. And of course there are repeats, because you saw the same people nominated over and over again. Well, 120 times 100 is what, 12K in microphones? I'm sure the Hollywood Foreign Press Agency can spring for 12K in microphones, you know, and send them out to the people just to make the broadcast a little bit better.
I bet they don't. I bet the in the recipient side, whatever they have, it's a laptop. It might be a blue, because.
But I thought that
the quality varied. Some people were good and some people were not.
But I thought the video quality and the audio quality were more a function of connection speed and microphone placement. So if I take my mic here, I put it down on the floor, people don't think. So they're like, oh, I'd like to thank the Academy. And it's like, your mic's on the floor. Like, put it
next to your mouth.
Put it next to your mouth and people can hear you talk.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That was right. I could take mine and put it different places too. When I first doing a lot of stuff at home and had to generate dozens and getting into the hundreds of videos for education, and I'm getting ready to do even more. I was worried about my surroundings. I made these towel things. I love towels, by the way. Towels are acoustical, and you just put them right here in almost a little booth. And I concerned, but they don't even do that. They like you say, they put their mic somewhere else.
Well, I think that was the quality variance. So I think they all might have had the same camera and audio connection, because then if the producer has to, oh, this person's about to win the award and something's wrong, the producers know exactly what hardware they're using. Do you see what I'm saying? If you ship everyone out a Blue Yeti and a webcam and something goes wrong, the producers say, these are the settings you need to fix on your end. Or you ship them out the laptop and you can remote into the laptop and control their laptop.
Yeah, I don't think they did that.
I think they did. I almost guarantee you they did. And because they said, we used to get swag bags full of thousands and thousands of dollars of merchandise. Well, the cost of production to fly everyone out, to have a red carpet, to construct the scaffolding, to have the press there, to book the halls, that would have been a lot of money. Well, you put that money into the technical aspects of the broadcast instead, and you still screw it up a little bit because you've never done it before. And yet, I do think that they made it uniform, the technology that everyone was using. It's not like, oh, just use your phone or just use your laptop. I think they sent people laptops with external webcams. They put them on tripods, and they all used normalized microphones, because then broadcast can resolve issues because everyone's on the same hardware, if that makes sense. And the thing is, it's just as quickly as, okay, give us your address. We'll order. Oh, I got to make sure that we'll order one of these for you, and we'll ship it out to you. And it'll be there in 2 days. Get it as soon as tomorrow. It'll be there in 2 days, and then you'll have it. And then we'll also ship you out a laptop. You know, I'm sure that they have 120 laptops, the Hollywood Foreign Press Agency, to run this, or webcams. So I think that I kind of feel like if I were producing it as a media person, I would make sure everyone had the same hardware, because then the solutions are all the same.
I know I have a laptop that I'm supposed to use, but I don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And my system's better.
And when you call IT, they're expecting you to be using that laptop, and they have solutions for the laptop. They're like, they could never solve my problems, because you're using a completely different system. There's a reason why they want you to use that system.
That's right. Yeah, and also because of that, they want me to use software. Their software, certain software that they bought, and I got to be careful because it might work on the laptop, but it may not work on my system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I've downloaded stuff and it just screwed my system up.
Yeah. I do think what's crazy is a lot of the stuff that's free generates so much revenue, because when you use a free software, oftentimes you're not this is getting off the Golden Globes. When you use a free software, oftentimes you're not the customer, you're the product. When I use Google, I type something into this search bar here, hello world. Google knows that I typed hello world, or at least the podcast did, because I'm signed into the podcast account. And Google knows, oh, hello world, that's a programming thing. This person might be interested in programming. Next time he surfs to YouTube, which we also own, maybe we'll show him an ad about programming, because he's indicated interest in programming. And we'll get money from advertisers to show him that ad. And based upon his search history, we'll know what to serve him. And it's all free to him. He gets access to all these videos. He gets access to our search functionality. If he wants to go into Google and use Gmail or Google Drive or Photos or Docs, Sheets, Slides, if he wants to use any of that, it's all free, because he's not the customer. He's the product. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, that's a little off topic, but I mean, just looking at the broadcast, I do think that they all had the same hardware. I just think that they set it up differently. Some person set up in a cavernous room with all sorts of echo, and the mic is 10 feet away from them. That's why when someone would have their phone and they would say, I got to thank my co-producer, Johnny Mozzarella. Let's hear what he has to say. And then they would hold it up to the microphone. He would sound better than they would. Yeah. Because the speaker was talking 1 inch away from the microphone.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was good. And they did put it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it did sound good. Yeah, but just devil's advocate, these people don't do the technology. They're the actors, and they're going to say, okay, action. And then they do their thing, and they're very good at what they do. They're awesome at what they do, but they don't do the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't know, and they're not. Well, they know they're not aware of the intricacies of. You need to have my mic is like 6 inches away from my voice. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I'm like a foot, but you can hear me okay, right?
Yeah. My mic's right here, right off screen.
Yeah, mine's right off screen too, to my left.
I mean, my camera. I do the same thing. So that's just who they are, and that's not what they do.
Yeah, I guess they don't think, even though their whole life is being in front of camera. I mean, but when you think about it, there were more audio issues. I guess I'm an audio guy, so like I hear the audio issues. There were more audio issues than there were video issues. So everyone had their webcams on tripods, and they were framed like this. You know, the way you should frame someone, center frame. Rule of thirds or whatever. Fine. They were framed fine. No one screwed that up. It wasn't like, hey, Academy, thanks, no Dutch angles or anything like that. So I think that because they're actors, they do think about how they look more than how they sound.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, that was kind of the theme in The Artist.
Mm-hmm. But it's all about the
There's
pictures. It's not about the sound.
the silent film is all about the pictures, and the acting was the communication.
Uh-huh.
And then you went to talkies, and then all of a sudden, it's the actions and the voice.
Well, it's a different skill set.
It's a different skill set. It is.
So
Just like it's a different skill set to talk to someone personally and talk to a camera.
yeah, like looking into the lens, because when I look at you, and you're not far, I have you right above my camera, but it does
Uh-huh.
look a little bit like I'm looking over.
Yeah, like I'm looking at you, then I look at the camera,
It's
then I look
different.
at you, then I look at it's
Like if-
different.
And if you want to make a point often, you could be looking at the people on your Zoom call or whatever, but you got to focus them out and say blah, 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 blah. You look into the camera and you have more emphasis because then you're actually making eye contact with them.
That's right.
Like if I made eye contact with you, it looks like I'm looking over the camera. It's fascinating because eye contact is crucial to communication. But we've gotten off track.
Yeah, but we're having fun. We're having fun. This is stuff we like.
I want to bring it back to the Golden Globes, okay?
Yeah, let's come back to yeah, let's do that.
What did you think about Tina Fey and Amy Poehler?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like Amy Poehler because I've seen her in Parks and Rec, and I like her in that. She's been in other things too. I like Tina Fey. I've seen her. I just seen Tina Fey on the Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought they did a fine job. I think they did a really good job. I think they were fine.
I liked both of them. I thought the monologue was okay. I mean, they told jokes. It wasn't like Ricky Gervais's from last year where he really ripped everyone when it was incredible. Did you ever see that one?
I don't think so. No, I didn't.
Should I pull it up?
It was like it was a 2 hour long thing, or.
No, just like the monologue yesterday that they did, like a 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So is it intro monologue?
Yeah, it's 8 minutes. I don't know if we should watch the whole thing. Nah, I'd say no.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't watch it last year.
I mean, we'd fill 8 minutes of the podcast, but I don't have any good clips that he just rips Hollywood, sort of like Sacha Baron Cohen did. It's like, I'd like to thank the all-white Hollywood Foreign Press Agency for giving me this award. And, okay, so Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, fine. They were good. I liked them. What I didn't like was I thought some of the SNL sketches that they did on stage, they really fell flat.
Yeah.
Whether it was Keenan and Maya Rudolph as the singers, didn't like that. Or Tina Fey and that other lady as the tourists in Hollywood, didn't like that sketch. And I was sort of watching it. It's like, why? Why are they doing this? This is not good. They bombed. They bombed as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. I got. It was kind of like. So like two people are talking, they laugh, and no one knows what they're talking about or laughing about it. It's an inside joke.
Uh-huh.
You had to be there. You know,
Or maybe if
I
you
think a
knew those
lot of
characters from their SNL days or something, because they had these weird accents, especially the Tina Fey sketch, not the Tina Fey sketch, the Kristen Wiig sketch. Remember when they were tourists
yeah,
and
I
they were
remember that one.
speaking with
Yeah,
a weird accent about all the good shops on Hollywood Boulevard? And it's like, this is not funny. There's nothing about this that is funny to me.
but that probably it could have been funny to the people who were in the business listening to it, to the SNL people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, yeah, you had to be there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that kind of thing, like inside joke kind of thing, which makes that industry difficult because what's funny to you may not be funny to your audience.
I also think there's a consideration of network. So Saturday Night Live remains like a marquee show for NBC. And normally, when they'd have the Golden Globes, when they paid for the Golden Globes, they'd have a bunch of celebrities. You know, big name: Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, George Clooney, Tom Hanks, Jennifer Lawrence. All the biggest stars would be there presenting and receiving awards. But because it's pandemic, it's like, well, what do we do? The stars aren't going to be there. Let's drag our SNL cast, who's already in a pod because they've been doing SNL, you know, for 6 months now, and have them do sketches on stage. I think, and it's like, let's promote SNL because it's one viable NBC property. So I think that was a lot of the rationale behind having so much SNL material. But I thought it fell flat. I didn't really like it.
Well, the my 2 cents, my contribution is SNL skits will work better on SNL than on the stage of the Golden Globe Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Two different audiences. It's not the same audience.
But I think no matter what, it was going to be weird, right? With the people over Zoom accepting the awards. So I guess we can go into that a little bit. I thought the lady that accepted Chadwick Boseman's award, maybe it was his wife, and Andra
Yeah,
Day, they were two highlights of the show.
I thought it was very heartfelt, very from the heart. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
And I liked, one thing I liked about the Zoom, you know, that was weird, was like Andra Day, she seems like a young actress. She had her mom and dad right there beside her. Other people won and their little kids ran into frame and gave them a hug. You don't really get that on the real Golden Globes, and I thought that added a huge level of humanity to the proceedings. So
Yeah, me too.
that was one thing about the Zoom version of the Golden Globes that I really did like. Uh, I thought that how emotional this Andra Day was, I thought that was cool. And then Chadwick Boseman's wife, I guess, I don't know. I don't know who she was, but she was very emotional talking about him. And his story is very sad. He was a young guy whose life was cut short by cancer. Obviously, Sacha Baron Cohen, he's funny and he's probably pretty smart because it seems like he was able to get in a few jokes. It was a little sad that Maria Bakalova didn't win Best Supporting Actress
Uh-huh.
because I thought she did great. I thought that she
She did.
carried the movie perhaps more than Sacha Baron Cohen did. Do you know what I mean? In that Borat,
Yeah. Yes.
she drove the
Yeah.
movie.
She did. Well, when she, well, I don't know about when she was in scene, she took the scene,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't in every scene.
But she was in more
So
scenes than he was, though.
was she?
I think so. Like the scenes at the women's league and the scenes with the babysitter, and she was in a lot of scenes.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how they
Well,
decide this.
she was very good. She was excellent, and I think it was very surprising. Who is that? Who? Yeah, I kept saying, who is that young girl? You know, who is that? She's doing a great job,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very impressive because I think it was the kind of movie it was, and I think who directed it, Did Baron Cohen direct it?
I don't think so.
I
Because
think the
he,
direction was excellent. It was very good. But the direction of that was different because it was more uh, a reality show kind of thing,
yeah.
a pseudo reality. Yeah, I thought she was really good. Not to take anything away from Rosamund Pike.
I never seen that movie
No,
though.
yeah,
I didn't
I don't
see
want to
that
take
movie.
anything. I don't want to take anything away from any of these people because I think they're all excellent. I rarely do I see someone who's bad.
Yeah.
I see someone better than someone else, but they're all professionals. They're very good at what they do.
Well,
Either professionals long term or good at what they do.
the one that got uh, blasted was this Emily in Paris. Did you hear about this?
No,
It's did not get very many good reviews, but it got several nominations. Lily Collins, Emily in Paris. And it turns out that last year, the producers of Emily in Paris, there's only like 85 people in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It's not like the Academy where there's like 500 people, the Academy Awards. Well, it
yeah,
turns out that the producers flew everyone that was in the HFPA to France and put them up in a 5-star hotel and let them tour the production while they were filming it. And all of a sudden, a year later, they get all these nominations when most critics said it was lousy. And it's like, it seems that's kind of like pay to play, you know? It seems like something's a little bit off about that.
hmm. Yep, yeah.
See,
I didn't.
but yeah, that was a thing. And then the autism movie was a thing. What do they call that one? What's the autism movie? Ba ba ba. It got a ba 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 ba.
Ted Lasso, was that it?
No. I thought it got a nomination for something. Let's look it up. Sia autism movie. Music is what it's called. I guess it did a lot of. First of all, they were upset that Maddie Ziegler from the Dance Moms, she's not autistic and she played an odd person on the spectrum. And then they said it was dangerous because there's a scene where she's freaking out and her older sister restrains her. And they say that that's like not the acceptable way to handle someone that's having a breakdown that's autistic. And so the movie was, first of all, they felt like someone further along the spectrum because I guess if it's a spectrum, everyone's on the spectrum. You know, you and I are on the autism spectrum at some place because it's a spectrum. So,
I can see that. Yeah,
so because the girl Maddie from Dance Moms was not further down the spectrum, it wasn't representation. They should have gotten someone further down the spectrum to play the autistic child, and it's like, uh, well, that might not work. You know, I don't know. I feel like it's like saying, oh, I'm going to make a movie about a serial killer named Hannibal Lecter, and I'm going to cast Anthony Hopkins. It's like, you really need to cast an actual serial killer, you know? And it's like, well, why wouldn't you cast an actor instead? You know, like, I think that being an actor should qualify you to do stuff that you're not supposed to do. That's what, like, the definition of being an actor. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh,
Yes, I do.
but I guess that was part of people's grief. People always have grief about everything. But the other part was some of the depictions of how you handle an autistic person were against the current orthodoxy, and people said it could be dangerous. So this may be, if you don't have a child that's heavily on the autism spectrum, you don't know anyone, you've never heard, this movie may be what you know about autism, and what is teaching people they say is wrong. And that's why people are upset. And that might kind of make sense to me.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah. Because when you make a movie, there is a responsibility to, because you're communicating, and you're anytime you communicate, anytime you when you talk to people or communicate or teach people, you're dealing with people's minds and thoughts, and you can influence them in a positive direction and a negative direction. And I think it's important that there's a responsibility, whether anytime you engage other people in a collective manner, you have a responsibility. And that concept is not only movies, but it goes to politicians too.
Mm-hmm.
Words matter, images matter, stories matter. All that stuff is important because you're dealing with people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess one thing that I don't get is, autism, you should have gotten an autistic person to play the person with autism or whatever. And it's like, that boggles my mind, because it's like, it's different. If you get someone to play Billie Holiday and you cast Scarlett Johansson, blonde hair, blue eyes, that just wouldn't make sense. But what if you wanted to get someone to play a Kazakhstani journalist? And you say, Sacha Baron Cohen shouldn't play a Kazakhstani journalist. A, he's not a journalist, and B, he's not from Kazakhstan. And you could definitely argue that his depictions of the Kazakhstani people are not in line with reality. In fact, they're detrimental to the image of the Kazakh people. So why isn't what Sacha Baron Cohen did racist? He's the number 3 prostitute in all of Kushchek. That's my sister. He leaves and they're, pulling a cart. And it's like, why isn't that discriminatory? I'm sure that the people of Kazakhstan didn't like his portrayal of their country. And he's not Kazakhstani, but no one seems to care about that. I guess this is very much whataboutism, though. Where it's
but that argument, David, could also apply to African Americans. It could apply to Native Americans. It could apply to Asian Americans. It could apply to everyone. Which actually is true.
If Sacha Baron Cohen played Soaring Eagle, a movie about a Native American who goes off in search of America, and he dresses up in war paint and a headdress, and he goes to New Mexico and portrays the Navajo reservation as destitute poverty and backwards thinking, do you think people would be angry?
Well, what I was thinking of is how movies have portrayed Native Americans. Oh, the Indians. Oh, I killed an Indian. I killed an Indian. I killed the Indian. Killed the Indians, And I says, yay, I killed an Indian. I'm the hero. I got the white hat on. And the Indians have a feather. You got to shoot them because they're bad people. It's the good guys and the bad guys. The bad guys are the Indians. And the blacks are the ones who they can't be in the house. You're not allowed in the house. You got to stay outside.
So, there's racist portrayals in movies.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the autism argument with music is that everyone should be exactly who they claim to be in a movie. And that just doesn't hold water to me. It's like, does Borat need to be from Kushchek in Kazakhstan, or can he create a character? And when you create a character, do you need to get someone that is that character in real life to play that character? Like, what's the point of having actors at that point? Why not just make documentaries?
Well, and then it's true. That's a good point. It's a very good point, David. But then what I was saying is that if you're playing a character and that character is not true to a social point, then is that legitimate in a movie in this industry? Because you're influencing the thoughts of people in one direction.
Yeah, I think that for all the good that Sacha Baron Cohen's movie may have done in America, to sort of, especially the first one. Do you remember? We watched the first one. It exposed that, I think, prior to the Trump era, there was this underbelly of discrimination and racism in America. When he goes to that dinner on Secession Way, and they're all fine with him pooping in a bag and bringing it to the dinner table, but the second he invites a black person to eat with him, he has to leave.
You're gone.
And
You're
yeah, and we're gonna call the cops. Like, you bringing a bag of poop to the table, that was not a bridge too far. But inviting a black person, and you know, the college kids on the RV, and of course I feel like this was more, the new one was more about Trump and Giuliani, and he said he wanted to get it out before the election, and I don't know what impact it had on the election, but whatever impact, however small, I think that he probably was glad that he made the movie and didn't. But the first movie, it really did expose America more than it exposed Kazakhstan. Because I think that his portrayal of Kazakhstan was so over the top that you knew it was a joke. Or at least in America, we knew that Kazakhstan's not really like that. But it's funny he's backwards. And it's like, let's see how Americans react to him. And it's like, ooh, the way that Americans react to him doesn't reflect that well on Americans. And I think that was his whole point with the first movie, and also with the second movie. And I think it's kind of brilliant where you could be like, oh man, the Kazakhstanis are going to be so pissed at his portrayal. And it's like, really, the person he's dunking on is not Kazakhstan. It's America.
Which brings up a good point. If it's true with the axioms, if it's true that movies do influence people, telling a story can influence people, and you can create a character, and that character can actually reveal a negative parts of a society or a segment of society, then telling the story is important. And we've seen that there is an underbelly of prejudice and discrimination in this country. Actually, not this country, in the world. Mm-hmm. It's not just a country, it's in people. I think just people are natural that way. Some are not. That'll always be the case. That's never going away. Mm-hmm. And so you have a country to try to normalize that, such that one side or the other, the negative, that I would say negative because I don't believe in discrimination, but the discriminatory nature of people does not rise to overtake a society. Then maybe, if you can influence that with storytelling in the media, in the movie industry, then, and also we saw that has changed in politics, like with the Trump era, because he has really played the audience, and that's why all these conspiracy theories have been growing, because it's more of a reality show that's non-truth. The point is, why don't politicians hire more people in the movie industry
to sort of tell their stories?
Because historically, they're all about the platform. They're all about the logic here, the logic here, the logic here. They're all about, if we do this, the economy is going to be better. If we do this, foreign policy is better. If we do this, you're talking about all these issues, but then they talk about the issues without really getting the people into it. And so if you take, here's our platform. They say, okay, how do we get the people behind us? Well, let's get a persona like Trump, and they're going to get behind it, even if the issue is a conspiracy theory. He can have people believe in a conspiracy theory where other politicians cannot have them believe in something that's real. So if we've seen that, maybe that's why in the future, maybe we should think a lot more about telling the story, mm-hmm. even in politics and in business and in our lives. I think, and actually, always bring it around to Sequoia. A good storyteller will influence people. And if in that story, if you have a message that is going to be lasting and important, then the best way to deliver that message is telling a story. I guess we said that before, but maybe I'm saying all this stuff again, but I think it fits here.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything that we do. I think we saw this. Who was the guy from MIT say tell a story and tell the story well on it when you want to make a point?
Harry
Remember
Winston.
Harry? Yeah, Harry was his name Harry.
Harry Winston? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was actually excellent lecture on teaching. Tell a story, and he had 5 points in telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who tells stories the best? These people do, the playwrights. All these stories are excellent. They're very good at their craft. They're very good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to applaud their talent. Okay.
Well, we may have to watch some of these now and then come back and do an episode on the Oscars. We could wrap this up today. The fascinating thing to me about the Golden Globes is it is very much about the marquee people. If you look at the whole film, actor, director, the score, I guess, screenplay, song, animated, foreign language, and then actor, or the whole thing. So there's no production designer, there's no cinematographer, there's no technical awards for special effects or composite effects or sound editing or sound mixing. The Golden Globes is all about just the people at the top of the marquee. And I'm sure that's why the stars love it, because the reason they became stars is because they wanted to be at the top of the marquee. But I think this is a good starting point for maybe our Movie Tuesday discussions. We have several best dramas and best comedies for films that we need to watch. Like, we can take a look at this. I haven't seen any of these. I've seen two of these.
I've seen Hamilton, which I liked. Which
and Borat.
Oh, Borat. Yeah, I saw Borat.
So we can start with the dramas and then maybe go to the comedies. The thing about comedies that makes them hard to review is either you find them funny or you don't. I suppose this is a musical, not a comedy, but do you know what I mean? Reviewing a comedy, it's like, I thought it was stupid. And that's all you can say, you know? Or I didn't think it was funny. It's like reviewing the Kristen Wiig sketch. It's like, I didn't think it landed. And it's like, what more can you say? They came out, they did their little sketch, and it wasn't funny.
Well, being an academician, I would say, wasn't funny to me. What type of person is that funny to? Or to what type of person is that funny?
Mm-hmm.
Say it correctly. See what I mean? Let's analyze it. Okay, that was humor. Okay, but humor has the person who delivers the humor, and the person who receives the humor. And the transmission and the receiving, they have to connect. Okay, and if they transmit it and they don't connect with us, who do they connect with? See what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it analytically. So yeah, it was funny. To whom? Who's going to find that funny?
Yeah.
I watch things on TV and I don't think they're that funny, but you do. And even because of our age difference,
mm-hmm.
And okay, fine, you think it's funny, but I don't. I don't like that. And some people think when I left. Okay, now we're getting off the track, but hey, when I left home, I grew up in a part of the United States. When I left home, I went to another part of the United States, and the very first thing I noticed was people would laugh at things that I didn't think was funny. And I would say things, and they'd think I was funny, but back home I was funny. The first thing I noticed was the humor was different.
Mm-hmm.
At just a different state in the Union, in the United States. So maybe we should look when you do comedy. What's funny, and who's the audience? I think it's funny isn't universal.
No, not at all.
Humor and comedy is not universal. It has to be audience specific. Maybe that's a better way to say it. So what audience would find that funny? The sketches. Whatever it is, I'm not part of it.
They're playing like middle-aged, like middle American normies these two ladies, Kristen Wiig and whoever the other one was, who they go on vacation, they go to the souvenir shops and they buy up all the souvenirs and they say there's great places to shop. There's this souvenirs, there's Hollywood Souvenir, or there's Souvenir Hollywood. And it's like, I don't know who finds it funny. Maybe like the husbands of these middle-aged middle American women, but if you're a middle-aged middle American woman, you're like, they're making fun of me. They're saying that
people,
my life is a joke, basically. But what I do for recreation is pathetic. That's sort of what I got out of the sketch. And that's
because I think maybe the audience that finds that funny are actors in New York who live around those people.
Yeah, or they know.
And they see that every day.
Yeah. Like, isn't it crazy how, because, I mean, Kristen Wiig's in her 40s now, then I don't know how, but it's like how people we went to high school with are just such normies in the Midwest, they live to go on vacation and buy souvenirs. Isn't that just so unrefined? Let's make fun of them. Like, we're actors in New York. Let's make fun of these people that we went to high school with that are, I think that could be what's going on there.
Well, another thing about humor, again, is a connection. If you can connect if you and I are connected, and we are, we respect each other, we love each other, father and son. So can I make fun of you? Yeah. And you'll laugh. Oh, he's making fun of me. But if I didn't know you, I made fun of you, then that would cause a separation. That would cause turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
That would cause resentment. See, again, that connection matters. And so if you make fun of people you respect and they know you respect them, then you can make fun of them. Back home, I know if you are, back home relatives,
mm-hmm.
relatives that you have a really good relationship with, you call them out all the time. They laugh and they go, yeah, I did that. Like they call them up on the phone. They go, what are you doing? Well, you say that to just someone you don't know. And they go, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking to me like that? You sit to someone you really relative that you grew up with and you know each other so well. What are you doing? I'm talking to you. That kind of thing. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, your relationship determines your interactions.
And the interactions determine the humor.
Yeah.
So humor is not humor. It's dependent on a lot of ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Same with messages, like strong, significant messages. Some of these messages that are trying to convey different things today would not fly in the 50s or the 60s.
No, and I also
or the 40s.
think these days, stuff that's profound, or you could say is profound, it hits you over the head with what it's trying to say. There's no subtlety to it whatsoever. There was no subtlety to One Night in Miami. It's not like, oh, what are they getting at? Like with the artist, there was more subtlety. It's like everybody grows old. The world moves on from where you were when you were in your prime, and you have to deal with that. Either you adapt and overcome, or you hold on to your pride and you watch it all slip away. That was sort of the message of that. And it's like, when you see that, you say, that didn't have a message. But this movie where they're explicitly talking about their role in history, or they're explicitly talking about the steps they need to take to move forward, that does have a message. And it's like, no, that has an explicit message. This other movie over here has an implicit message, and it's up to you to get the meaning out of it.
It depends on your experiences too.
Mm-hmm.
Different people will get different meanings from an implicit message.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art form, and it's a study in an art form that's important. That should not, I guess, my go back to my original thesis. It should not be restricted to just entertainment. It should be broadened to different parts of our experience.
Well, I think it's fascinating. I've made this point before. The ones that win awards, the ones that the critics think are the most thought-provoking or poignant, are not the ones that make the most money. Fast and the Furious 11 or, Rock'em Sock'em Robots with Superheroes will make more money than Nomadland or The Father or Mank or Promising Young Woman or The Trial of the Chicago 7. Because that's what people will pay to see. They just want to escape. They don't really want to think. And watching a movie and thinking, sometimes I don't want to do that. I want to watch a kung fu movie. I want to watch these guys beat each other up and then the movie's over. The good guy wins, But I do think there's...
You could say the same thing about sports.
Yeah.
I want to watch football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why? Because it doesn't make any difference at all. And I can be really emotional about it. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's not about what you're watching. It's about the emotion that you can unleash with, oh, could you believe that call?
Yeah.
It's meaningless. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think we've covered the Golden Globes enough. Should we wrap it up for the day?
Why not? Yeah, we can go on and on. Well, let's go on and on. No, let's go on and on. But let's go on and on tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll watch Nomadland and do a review of it tomorrow.
Well, okay, let's do that. We'll watch Nomadland.
I gotta say, I'm a little worried because it's on Hulu. So there's going to be advertisements in the middle of it. Hopefully that doesn't ruin it. But we could talk about the experience of watching it and the movie itself when we come back tomorrow.
Yeah, and we will say what we think. Right, David?
That's right.
We're not going to say what's right. We'll say what we think. And from our perspective on this stuff. Let's do that tomorrow.
Okay, so do you have anything else you'd like to add before we leave?
Hey, I got my tagline. Keep the Sons of Sequoia, keep on talking, but listen more than you talk and try to understand what the other person is trying to say.
Bye.
Bye.